Got another question. I'll bring in everyone to reflect on this on the back of that. Utopia is a documentary made by John Pilger in which he highlights the denial of justice for Aboriginal people, how little he says has changed in Australia over the last 30 years. It's also the starting point for our next question, which comes from Sophie McIntosh.
Thanks, Tony. Documentaries such as Utopia tend to just affirm and add to beliefs and understandings that I already have. But I know for some people, they tend to provoke a knee-jerk reaction, as they can be seen as an excuse for indulging in white guilt for non-Indigenous activists for social equality. So I'm interested in the panel's opinions about whether documentaries such as Utopia do productively contribute towards reconciliation efforts, or whether perhaps they reinforce the existing societal divide and beliefs by only reaching an audience who is already either battling or sympathising with these very serious ongoing issues.
Okay, Stuart Roos.
Look, I think that film was a wake-up, a necessary wake-up call to identify what was exactly happening now, and indeed with lots of old footage, what had happened in the past. Probably what it didn't do in terms of your question about whether a documentary like that affects reconciliation is that there are success stories. There are wonderful Aboriginal leaders. I've got one on my right. There are programs like Families as First Teachers in remote areas that impress me as having made enormous progress with fairly large numbers of young, vulnerable mothers. So I'd perhaps want from John, the next time he makes a documentary, to give some of the positive answers to show or to generate optimism in what is really a complex problem, because the complexity of the kinship systems, I think the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant Catholic population that the previous questioner referred to need to learn a great deal about.
Before I come to Rosalie, who is from Utopia, I just want to hear from Peter Coleman again, because you've actually written about the film, and you've actually said that you write of the film, John Pilger pinches a nerve because he focuses on things that continue to shame Australia and shock the world.
Yes.
Well, but having said that, you profoundly disagree with his conclusions.
Oh, I think it's a dreadful documentary and does great harm to the Aboriginal cause, and that he should be deeply ashamed of it, but of course he isn't. He hates Australian society, and this book, this film, demonstrates that. But what was the question, the part that I...
Well, we're really responding to the questioner up there who asked specifically about Utopia and what the impact of it is.
Well, I think its impact is to reject all of the effort that is being put into advancing this Aboriginal cause, whether by private organisations, whether it's Rotary Club or government organisations, and the dozens of programs and the billions of dollars, and to say that's all racist and contemptible. And I think that if we are to make progress in this area, there's got to be much more cooperation and allowance for goodwill, and it'll be slow. It'll last maybe a couple of 100 years, I don't know, but I certainly don't think it's going to be solved with a snap of the fingers. But whatever progress we're making, Pilger is weakening it and holding progress back.
Rosalie, I held you back a moment ago, but you obviously come from Utopia. The film is in fact named after your hometown, so what's your view?
You know, I have a culture. I am a cultured person. I am not something that fell out of the sky for the pleasure of somebody putting another culture into this cultured being. John shows what is an ongoing denial of me. I am not an Aboriginal or indeed Indigenous. I am Arunda, a Yawara First Nations person. a sovereign person from this country. I didn't come from overseas. I came from here. My language, in spite of whiteness trying to penetrate into my brain by assimilationists, I am alive. I am here and now. And I speak my language. I practice my cultural essence of me. Don't try and suppress me, and don't call me a problem. I am not the problem. I have never left my country, nor have I ceded any part of it. Nobody has entered into a treaty or talked to me about who I am. I am Arunda, a Yawara female elder from this country. Please remember that. I am not the problem.
I'd like to get our other panellists to reflect on that. Betty.